Hey, let me see your hands. Bert, get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one. We don't have one. They don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
On July 26, 2021, a shocking incident unfolded in Orangeburg, South Carolina, when a 58-year-old man named Clarence Gaillard found himself at the center of a terrifying encounter. Around 5 p.m. at 741 Colleton Street, police arrived at the house of Clarence Gaillard after receiving a call from a neighbor who saw a man carrying a firearm. Clarence Gaillard was just walking home with his cousin, Demario Julian, when, out of nowhere, a police officer aimed a gun at them and shouted for them to get on the ground, leaving them completely stunned. What happened next was caught on the officer's body cam, and the chilling footage is brought to you by the YouTube channel Cameras Everywhere.
Hey, let me see your hands. Bert, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground right here. Get on the ground. You, burgundy shirt, get on the ground. Over here. On the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. Do you not listen? Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. There's a gun behind me. There's a gun, I believe, behind me.
I ain't got no gun now.
Put your hands behind your back.
Just right as the body cam footage begins, you can see Officer David Lance Dukes of the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety stepping out of his car and shouting orders with a terrifying voice. The more he's repeating himself, the more aggressive he seems to get. The officer's first target, the man in the white t-shirt, is Clarence's cousin. You can clearly see how scared he is, and when he asks if he should take off his shirt before getting on the ground, it's obvious he's trying to do what the officer wants, even though the officer is clearly abusing his power. Officer Dukes then points his gun directly at Clarence and pushes him when he is already down on his knees and hands. Officer Dukes doesn't stop there. In a shocking move, he stomps on the 58-year-old's head with his foot, slamming it into the pavement. Even the neighbors witnessed Officer Dukes putting his boot on Clarence's head and then kicking it as well. It was these witnesses who would later report to the police about the use of force by an officer.
Is there a gun back there?
Ain't no gun.
By that truck.
Ain't no gun.
You're not listening, dude. Bro, you got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun.
All right,
I don't
I'm just
own
asking.
no gun. I don't
Turn
own
back over.
Even with Clarence's constant pleas and the lack of any weapon, Officer Dukes thinks the victim is committing the crime of officer obstruction, a charge that by law requires the individual to actively delay, hinder, or obstruct the officer's duties. Simply standing there with his hands up doesn't come close to that. Can you see how the situation escalates as Dukes doesn't even consider the old man's visible disability while handcuffing him? From this point, the situation gets further out of control.
Paul, do you watch him say? He had something.
I ain't own no gun.
No, he was right here. Watch him. Go watch him. There it is.
I don't own no gun.
All right, that's what he had.
As the other officer searches through the bushes, it becomes increasingly clear that no gun is to be found. The shiny item Gaillard was reported to have been seen with was actually his walking stick and not a gun. The old man, disabled from being hit by a car while riding his bicycle, used the stick because of pins and rods in his injured leg. The reason he walked slowly and struggled to get on the ground at gunpoint. He also used the stick to drive dogs and animals away in case they decided to chase or bite him. If Officer Dukes had actually found Clarence's walking stick wrapped in silver duct tape, why didn't he uncuff the old man once he knew it wasn't a gun? The fact that Dukes kicked Clarence's head into the concrete raises serious concerns about the officer's excessive use of force against someone who was already on the ground and vulnerable.
All right, who's the complainant? All right, get him up.
Put your leg up.
25 cents, got one tank.
Put your leg that way so you can stand up.
All right, listen, I'm about to help you. Hold on. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right.
The officer's mumbling conversation shows a hurried attempt to handle the situation. As they struggle to get the old man up, covered in dirt and clearly shaken, it's impossible not to question the decision-making here. Why was Clarence still being manhandled so roughly? Was racism at play here?
Yep.
Listen.
Yep, they slammed my head
Listen.
down on the cement. Yep.
Go back inside. Go back in the house. Go back in the house. Ain't nobody talking to you.
I got head trauma.
Go back in the house.
Yep. Y'all bust my head down. Yeah, I've been in an accident. Yep. Y'all bust my head down. You threw me down.
I sure did. You
And,
wasn't listening.
yep. No, it ain't. You had to throw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got head problem. Yup. You threw me down. Yup. You threw me down. You threw me down.
Officer Dukes' disrespect and disregard for laws can be heard quite clearly in his speaking tone. He shows no remorse for the pain he caused through his law-violating actions.
Threw me down like that. I'm disability.
Okay.
I got head problem. Yup. You threw me down. Yup. You threw me down. You threw me down. Yup. You bust my head down on the cement. Yup. You bust my head.
All right, let me tell you what.
His forehead.
You bust my head down on the cement.
He was in front of the car when I came up. And he was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Had him at gunpoint. And he's over here doing something like this.
You slammed my head. You slammed my
What
head
he was doing
down
is
on
putting this up behind the tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets. I'm telling him, let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your
Why you
hands.
bust my head then?
He wasn't listening.
No, it ain't.
He got the, like this right here,
You grabbed me.
and we went onto the
And
ground.
then you bust my head down
That's what
on the
The story Officer Dukes is narrating to other law enforcement officers doesn't quite match the reality caught on his own body cam. His side of the story is a completely different and false version of what actually happened. He goes on, claiming that Clarence had his hands in his pockets and wasn't listening to his commands, but the video clearly shows Clarence with his hands up, trying to comply, while Dukes keeps shouting at him.
Bert, get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground right here! Get on the ground! You! Burn your shirt! Get on the ground! Over here! On the ground! On the ground! Get on the ground! Do you not listen? Get on the ground!
Under South Carolina law, an officer must inform a person of the true reason for their arrest and cannot give a false or misleading explanation. Violating this law can result in a felony charge with severe penalties for the law enforcement officer. According to Officer Dukes, he mistook Clarence's walking stick for a gun and acted the way he did. But the evidence doesn't support his claims.
cement. You bust my
Yeah,
forehead.
your head digger hit the cement.
Damn right, cause you bust me down on the cement.
Where's the complainant?
You bust my head down on the cement.
Right here?
You bust my head. You bust my head.
Where's the complainant?
Bust my head down.
I'm trying to get the name of the complainant.
You
So,
bust my head. You bust my head down on the cement. If you ain't nobody who got no you bust my head down. Hell no. Yeah, I'm gonna get these cigarettes in here. My bitch, you know, then we had
Finding the person who reported Clarence is now Officer Duke's priority, as if doing so might somehow justify the force he used. He knocks on a door, likely hoping to find someone who can back up his version of events, but nobody shows up.
Ain't nobody had no gun. I live right there. Ain't nobody had no gun. I ain't got no warrants on me. I ain't got nothing to me.
Putting your change back in your pocket.
Damn right. You slam me, slam my head down. Okay. Yeah.
What are we doing? Get Sam, let's come check him out.
There ain't nothing about here wanting to press charges on.
Who called?
I'm not sure.
Take him out of cuffs right now. I mean, because that's what we
You're
got.
going to have to use it force.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Slam my head down.
Dude, I didn't know what his
You
intention
use
was.
the force. You need to have a look at.
Officer Dukes is trying to make sure his body cam catches every item confiscated from Clarence. The 911 call might have been nothing more than a misunderstanding or a cautious move by the complainant. With Clarence standing with his hands still cuffed behind his back, Officer Duke's focus remains on finding someone to validate his actions, as if that might erase what's already been done. But the other officers sense that the situation has gone too far, shows that perhaps not everyone is on board with how things have been handled.
The officer did wrong. Slam my head down. Bust my forehead. Damn right. You gonna pay me for that shit too.
Mayor, I'm going to take that into evidence of what he had.
What?
Well, I mean, that's the reasons I did what I did. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from.
No gun or nothing.
Because when he was behind the truck, I couldn't see what he was doing. And I didn't know where
There ain't nothing there.
that went. If it was still in his pockets when he come around that car with his hands in his pockets.
These dogs officer.
Got it on camera.
Yeah, a
All
dog
right, that's
stick.
fine.
A dog stick.
Unbelievable. Even after all that, Officer Dukes is still lying right to their faces, pretending that what he did was justified. He's just covering up to save himself from getting fired.
Oh, Lord. You want me to check you out?
You mind looking? Hi. Good, how are you? What's going on?
Officer slammed my forehead down in the cement.
Okay.
In the wrong for that.
Did you consciousness?
Yeah. Listen.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one there. We
Okay,
don't have
what's your
they don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone. Hold on.
Hold on, we have cards.
I get ready.
Alright,
Okay.
from a blood thinner. Okay.
Thank
Like
you.
go to hospital?
Yeah.
Alright. Please call me.
Brandon, he can get his stuff off the car.
Dukes, will you say badge number?
1059.
As the good cops step onto the scene, the difference is immediately noticeable. In the background, you can sense the tension rising around Officer Dukes. His body language is a dead giveaway. The body cam recorded his hands fidgeting nervously as the truth begins to surface. Thanks to the body cam footage and the courage of the second officer, who chose to stand with the truth rather than cover for a colleague, Justice found its way into this case. Within 2 days of the incident, Dukes was fired, and soon after, he faced serious charges of first-degree assault and battery, which states that the defendant was either involved in non-consensual touching of private parts with lewd intent or caused severe harm or death of a person. Officer Aquele Polidor deserves praise for stepping up in a tough situation. She not only prevented things from getting worse, but also had the courage to report Officer Duke's misconduct to the sergeant, who arrived at the scene after receiving calls from the witnesses. Gaillard was thankful for Officer Aquele, who firmed his belief that not all people in authority are bad. Some are genuinely out there to protect and serve. Clarence Gaillard's forehead bruise was so severe that paramedics had to take him to the hospital. This is what he had to say about his injury. "Every time I look in the mirror, I see the scar on my forehead, and it's not okay. All I want is for the community to change." Underlying tones of racism were also an issue in this case, as the victims were black while the officer was white. Gaillard's lawyer even pointed out the increasing number of use of force cases in Orangeburg, which is a black majority neighborhood. Officer Duke's firing from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office for insubordination was announced through a press conference held by the Orangeburg City Administrator, who said, "We value the trust the community has placed in us as leaders and as law enforcement officers. We cannot tolerate anything that will diminish that trust." Clarence Gaillard was rewarded a whopping settlement of $650,000. The city's police officials also announced the establishment of a citizens' task force to ensure their safety. Sometimes the people in power can get a little too full of themselves, thinking they are above the law. But in the case of Officer Dukes and Clarence Gaillard, justice found a way, thanks to Officer Aquele, who stood up for what was right. What's your take on the good cop's actions? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe so you can catch our next one.